This morning, I will be serving as your facilitator, moderator, and one of the biggest jobs I have today is to make sure we keep time. So those of you walking in, if we can do that a little faster, please. I'll be very grateful. So growing up in a small town, I learned at a very early age something that is quite profound, and that is how deeply we rely and depend on the land. My father was a medical doctor, and I'm telling you all this as you hurry up and sit, please. My father was a medical doctor. My mother, however, is the one me, my brother, and my sister often ran to when we were unwell. And she always had a leaf, she had a stem, she had a root that she was crushing, she was boiling, she was applying to make us well. When we were peckish or hungry, there was always a fruit in the compound, a mango here, a guava there, and there was plenty in our farm for us to eat and also to feed those in the community that did not have. One thing was made clear as I was growing up: we ate from the land, we healed from the land, and on the land we thrived. And so I am extremely honored to stand here before you today and to be part of making history as we have the closing ceremony of the 6th World Congress on Agroforestry. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be beginning in only 60 seconds. This is my final call to those of you that are still walking in, those outside. Please find your seats and we'll commence. We'll give it another 30 seconds. Good morning once again, and welcome to the closing ceremony of what has been an extraordinary week. It has been one that we have all contributed to immensely, and it's great to see so many of you keep time and be part of the last day. The week has been about advancing our shared theme, agroforestry for a greener future, people, planet, and profit. Now, science over the past few days has made community, and innovation has made impact. But something extraordinary also has happened. Partnerships have taken root across continents. Now, as we gather this morning, I want us to take a moment and to please appreciate the energy, the insight, the dedication that we have seen fill the different rooms here. And to do that, I want us to please look to your neighbor and give them the most generous round of applause. Now, in my homeland, we have a saying, which I'll translate to English, and it says that it's the roots of a tree that heal the land. I want to add to that today and say, you are what will heal the future, and you are the solution. So thank you so much for showing up in mind and in heart. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are kicking off what will be an amazing, amazing few hours ahead. To start off, we have more conversations that are coming your way and a panel session that will be closing this historic moment we've had together. I'd like to yield the floor to an incredible lady that will be facilitating this last closing panel, a session that will have distinguished leaders and practitioners share reflections and outline future directions for agroforestry globally. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Ms. Anisha Nalinda from One Acre Fund.
Thank you, Isabel. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the closing panel of the 6th World Congress on Agroforestry. It's a pleasure for me to be here and to be with all of you. Over the past few days, we've heard from scientists, policymakers, practitioners, entrepreneurs, and even some farmers. And 3 things have really stood out to me. The first being, everybody wants trees, from farmers, governments, communities alike. Secondly, tree seed supply remains a real bottleneck that we need to address moving forward. And lastly, agroforestry is where real value is being created for everyone, from smallholder farmers to investors and governments, while building resilience across our food systems. So this panel is an opportunity for us to take time to think about the next step, to reflect together and look ahead. How do we advance this work through science, policy, investment, development partnerships, and inclusion, and turn this momentum into meaningful action for the next decade? I'm honored to be joined by 5 distinguished panelists. Please come up. Dr. Peter Minang from ICRAF. We have Professor Albert Bizoza, the Science Committee Chair. Ms. Joanna Yao, Akura Capital. Mr. Jitendra Sinha from the Luxembourg Development Agency. And lastly, Dr. Elizabeth Lagneau, the International Union of Agroforestry. Welcome. Each of these individuals brings a unique perspective from science, policy, development, private sector, and research. Our time is going to be very short, but we're going to focus on a couple of big questions. How can science guide future priorities? What lessons should shape the next decade of agroforestry? How can development and private sectors stay committed? And what shared vision should emerge from this Congress? Hi, everybody. So, Peter, I'm going to start with you. Let's start with the research lens. How can science guide future investment and policy decisions so that agroforestry truly supports climate-smart and resilient food systems?
No, thank you, Anisha. Thanks. Hi, everyone. That's a pretty hard question, but I'll try. I think just listening to everyone this week, one thing struck me, and this is something that we've been trying to do all the time. I think science is about data, is about knowledge, and to some extent, a lot of technology attached to that. I think science has had from an agroforestry perspective, a very good link with farmers already. There is a very strong link there. But I think where we might need to move the needle a little bit would be to look at the data that we have and engage with policymakers. So for me, one of the most revealing things that we need to look at is how many people are from the Ministry of Finance in the room? Anyone? Now, that is where I think there is a problem. Because if we want public investments in agroforestry, we need to talk to finance and planning. They are the people that make the decisions about budgeting. They make decisions about where the money, state money, is put. And as Elaine had said on day one, or day two, I think, we need to dialogue with them. And you know, she was talking about 195 billion being the value of the market of the top 10 commodities from agroforestry. And when you look at that set of commodities, cocoa, cashew, gum arabica, and to a very large extent shea butter, Africa leads in those commodities. But we only get the maximum value that we capture is about 9% of the global value of each one of those commodities. So we need to begin to look at how do we deploy the science to get more value, and how do we bring that into the game. And I'll just talk a little bit about something that we've tried to do in Kenya. In Kenya, President Ruto put up the 15 billion tree initiative. And so we hypothesized and we said, if the government just wanted to make the top 8 tree commodities in Kenya, and to plant 1 billion of the 15 billion, and at market price, so a very conservative value, what would that bring to the economy of Kenya? Technically, it would give you $15 billion value over 10 years. That's every year more than the value of tourism, which is $5.2 billion a year for a country like Kenya. And that's what we need to communicate with the policymakers to make them understand that they need to invest in that. And I think that is the biggest challenge that we need to bring agroforestry to where it needs to be from a science-policy interaction. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Very great points there. Elizabeth, we're seeing an explosion of open access research. How do we make sure that this knowledge actually drives innovation, informs action, and reaches the farming communities?
That's a great question. And you mentioned open access research. And as a researcher, and I think there's many researchers in this room, we know that science is broken in many different ways. I think we've all been challenged and struggled to publish our research. And we know that to publish open access, there's a cost to that. And I just want to ask the people in this room, I know many of you are researchers, how many of you have struggled to publish your good manuscript just because you struggle to have the funding to pay the journals? Yeah, so too many hands here. And I think this is not a topic specific to agroforestry only, but I think it's something that the community here feels too, and it's the fact and the way that science is very conservative. It's a very rigid system, and we're still functioning with systems that aren't facilitating our work. And so I think in many cases, so much of the funding of our grants, of our project money, is going to pay high fees to the journals who use our colleagues to review our papers without paying them. We do this work for free too. Thank you. In order to then, if it's open access, that means we pay more for people to have access, and that's better, of course, if you're able to afford that, but in many cases, you're not able to afford that, and then other people have to pay to access this knowledge. So I just want to mention that, because I think that's one of the issues that we need to address moving forward in order to make the science accessible and available to all. There is a second point, which I think is very key in making scientific knowledge available to those who need it, and that's not only scientists, that's not only people who read journals. And I think that's the disconnect that still exists. I think we're moving forward, but I think there still is a disconnect between the scientists, the researchers, and the practitioners and the reality on the field. I'm seeing too many research projects where the questions are still fundamentally disconnected from the work on the ground. And I know we're making progress. I'm seeing more and more projects that are really trying to bring different stakeholders together. And I think what we need to do moving forward is to include multi-stakeholders, farmers, decision makers, policy makers, not only at the receiving end of our results. So it's not only about how good can we share that information, but we need to include them from the very beginning. They need to be part of the research design. I'm really convinced that if you have great research, great results, it doesn't matter how well you communicate your results to people, how well connected you are, how well you present it. If those people haven't been involved since the beginning, they're not going to receive it and understand it in the same way. So I think there's a lot of work to do to really, in our research projects, do it together. From the beginning on, from the designing phase, bringing practitioners, farmers, decision makers, and scientists around the same table to define the research question. And that brings me to my last point, which maybe is my most important point. I do think we need to move past the current tendency that still exists, where research agendas in Latin America, in Africa, and many places in Asia are still being defined. The agenda is still being set by researchers from the global north, from Europe, and from North America. And I say this as a European who lives in Peru. I do really think that we have to find ways to set the research agendas, have those agendas set by the people who actually know the reality on the ground and know which research is needed. And too many times we ask the wrong questions because we don't understand the context and because the people who are asking the question aren't the ones who should be asking the questions. So yeah, these are my 3 points for now.
Thank you for that, Elizabeth. Thank you. That really resonates with me working at Waneka Fund. We need to make solutions for the farmers, the people on the ground, and the communities. Before we proceed, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Honorable Minister of Environment for Rwanda and His Excellency, former Prime Minister of Ethiopia. Thank you very much for joining us. So, Alfred, I'm going to ask a couple of questions about the practitioner perspective here. Based on your experience working at the interface of research, policy, and practice, what are the top lessons from the past decade that should shape the next chapter of agroforestry?
Thank you, Anisha. Yeah, this is also a very important question. The interface between policymakers, researchers, and practitioners is a very important discussion for the many years, where you find a kind of discussions. Do researchers consider what the policymakers are looking for? Or do policymakers consider what has been produced by research? And then what extent do we consider the challenges or the issues and the needs of the consumers, who are mainly the farmers? At a certain point, they will come again and inform research and the policy. One of the lessons from the experience is that there is need first to enhance the trust between those three categories of people. The trust, I mean, to what extent the research findings are taken into account. I'm sure they are taken into account, but to what extent are they recognized as being produced by the research community to inform the policy? That's number one. Number two, how do we integrate the research in the policy process, and how do we do research that is also informed by the challenges and issues facing by the community? I think that's where we need now to understand that the aspect of trust needs to be really reinforced. The second aspect comes on the relevance of research. Let me ask a question. Your paper that has been cited by 100 people, what does it really mean as a scientist? You find that most of our papers remains in the cycle in the same house of scientists, and we don't have mechanisms that are more appropriate to take the research findings and translate them into consumable products by the policy and the farmers or the practitioners. So that's where we need now to start thinking to do more of action-oriented research than more of research that is meant only to inform the scientific audience. Now, the third element, which is the third lesson again, it's not easy to say that we need to work together. So what are the frameworks that are going to help us to work together? But taking an example for Rwanda, we have, in every sector, we have what we call sector working groups. In those sector working groups, there is high probability and possibility to integrate researchers, academia, and I'm sure now that's what is being done, so that at least they are part of the discussion that is going on when key strategic documents are being developed, let's say like the sector strategic plans or the national strategy for transformation and so on. That's one way of creating those frameworks that will allow now to make face the research to the challenges that the community is facing. These are the three top lessons. Maybe I may stop there.
Yes,
then we can
I mean,
continue
just
to discuss.
building on top of that, something comes to mind. How can practitioner networks contribute more to effectively, like to global learning and knowledge sharing, so that what's being done there has a local experience and shapes global practice? Correct.
So I think we have these different networks at different levels. There are networks of scientists, networks of practitioners, networks of farmers, maybe through their cooperatives. So these networks are very important in shaping the knowledge that is required. Let's take an example. I think someone was presenting in different parallel sessions. When do you bring a given technology and it is not adopted by farmers? What does it mean? It's because we did not involve them at the beginning as the shapers of the knowledge that is required. So these communities, these networks are very important to show the demand of the knowledge that is required, technology that is required. As we are speaking today with artificial intelligence, let's assume a farmer who is now in one locality in your country, who has not been maybe at school, who is not really educated, how he or she is going to integrate the artificial intelligence. So that means we need to have a group of practitioners who are able to understand, interpret the different dynamics brought by research, brought by policy, but also with the natural system, let's say climate change, for instance, that needs to be integrated in the entire process.
Okay, thank you for that. Jitendra, development partners have played a big role in advancing this field. From your perspective, we would like to know what collective actions should development actors prioritize to keep up the momentum and deepen the impact?
Thank you very much, Elisa. Thanks for asking this question because this is my favorite subject. Let me take you to a real example of Rwanda, how the donors and development partners are working together with the government. Take please. So what's happened, let me take a very particular example, which is favorite for many of you, how we are working. So I represent Luxembourg Development Agency. Can I get a remote, please? So we have a highest decision-making authority known as Project Steering Committee meeting, which is chaired by the Ministry of Environment, co-chaired by the Embassy of the Luxembourg. Personally, I was involved in designing and implementation this system 15 years before in Iran. So I can assure that it's going to be implemented. So that's how we work. We are working very much with University of Rwanda. So I will come on that. But that's how we work together.
Okay, just a follow-up question for you, Jitendra. Development partners often play a critical role in bridging science, investment. So what kinds of collective actions or support do you think can help strengthen those links?
Yeah, so let me answer to that. In Rwanda, we talked about clonal technology. It was a dream. Last year when I came, when I talked, it was like a dream. Now it's a reality. How it's happening? We collaborated with University of Rwanda City. So the research component is being brought forward by the University of Rwanda. We have South-South cooperation. The technology is coming from India. We had an agency who was bringing the technology. 2 days back, the Board of Governors meeting held in the University of Rwanda, which is the highest authority, and they allocated 3 hectares land for establishing the first clonal laboratory in Rwanda. Next month, we are going to start the first clonal production, and it is being done through the private investment. The role of development partners and donors is to bring the technology, to pilot the technology, and we envision that it should be taken over by private sector for the sustainability. Otherwise, once the project ends, every beautiful thing ends. So we are looking for sustainable activity. So that's how we are working.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Joanna, moving on to the private sector. So as you know, investors and companies can play a critical role in scaling agroforestry. How can the private sector become a true long-term partner in transforming agroforestry value chains, not as just a short-term funder?
Thanks so much for the question. I think the main thing to think about, and we've talked a little bit about this panel. I love this panel because there's so many people from different perspectives, and the theme that keeps coming up is that need for a bridge, right? Because every sector, the standards of excellence and the requirements for performance that each actor is accountable for is very different, right? And so we talked about scientists needing translation to the practitioners. In the same way, the private sector needs translation in between like the deep science, the practitioners, the stakeholders. And I'd say there are a few layers. I mean, even the first thing you would have to do is to think about what is the nature of the project, right? And when you think about what is the nature of the project, then you have to think about, I mean, I think kind of building on what Jitendra was talking about, there's a phase of de-risking, right? And once that has been established, then you can bring in the next wave of capital. So I'll give you a quick example. When we started this company, actually the first thing we did was to go talk to lots of people who were allocating capital into sustainable finance. And I shared a little bit. We've spoken to, at this point, probably 80 to 100 organizations that collectively have about $1 trillion in capital to allocate into sustainable finance. The thing is, they all have different mandates, right? And these are all actually very long-term actors. They are happy to allocate capital for 20, 30, 40 years. But you need to meet their requirements, right? And so they will all have slightly different requirements in terms of return profile. Do they need ongoing cash? Are they more about like a long-term hold? And are they required to do certain types of reporting? So I think what I'd say is there's no conflict in time horizon working with finance of the private sector. What is quite critical is groups that can bridge those gaps, right? And so it's to basically say, when we're establishing the first, call it like $0 to $5 million of track record for a particular asset class, what does it need to show before the next set of capital that can come in at that 5 to 20 million, and then the next set of capital at the 20 to 50. And this is where I think, gatherings like this are very valuable, so we can all share. But there is a specific need for translation, because everyone, it's not that that finance or private sector is short term. It's just that it needs to be translated in a way that they can understand, and you need to line it up with their mandates.
Okay, thank you for that. We're running out of time, but I'd like to take a moment to focus on inclusion, particularly the role of young people and women in shaping the future of agroforestry. And unfortunately, Elizabeth, I'm going to pick on you, just simply because you work with global networks, research institutions, and partnerships that often set the tone of how inclusion is embedded in policy and practice. So I guess you are the best placed person to speak on this, but I'll also invite the other panelists to answer this question. So, Elizabeth, what concrete commitment would you like to see to ensure that young people and women are at the center of agroforestry growth over the next couple of years?
That's a big question. I think I want to start by acknowledging that we've come a long way, and that as an agroforestry community, I think we've grown and we've helped women and youth have a role that we didn't have some years back. Just being here, we have seen various women leaders, our CEO from C4ECRAF, ministers. We have seen various women on this panel, youth too. So I know that hasn't been easy, and I know there have been women and men who have fought for that, and so I want to take a moment to also acknowledge and express my gratitude for those who have come before and paved the way and allowed for someone like me to be sitting at this panel today. And of course, that's not answering your question about the future. So what do I think moving forward we need to be paying attention to? There is one thing that worries me about the inclusion of youth and women, and where I worry that this trend that we're on that is positive may be challenged, and that is related to the competitivity in our world right now. I came across a paper published in Nature just last week. The name of the paper was, "Is Academic Research Becoming Too Competitive?" And if you read the paper, the answer was very loud and clear. Yes, it is becoming too competitive. There are more and more, that's the good news, is there's more and more people who are interested in contributing to research about sustainable land use, our community is growing. There is more and more young people who want to have a career in research and participate and bring their energy and their talent to these questions. The bad news is that as we're becoming more and more, there are less and less fundings. So we all know that we live in a context in which there's a lot of anti-science, anti-conservation, many different things, and that fundings are affected. And a lot of big grants that used to have a 20% acceptance rate now are falling underneath 10% acceptance rate. So that's many people's time and energy wasted on grant proposals that they will never see the results of. And I think that climate of competitivity, of reduced funding, while we're more and more people trying to do this very important work, is creating or risks to create a toxic environment in which we start fighting against each other or competing with each other instead of supporting each other as a community. So my one message would be to be careful and pay attention as a community to not fall into that trap of individualism, of selfish ambition, of ego, and to care for each other and lift each other up instead of just pushing each other down in order to raise.
Okay, thank you for that, Elizabeth. We're coming to the close now. So I'd like to ask, Jitendra, you have something to say?
Let me give you a real example how we are involving. Like I talked about the clonal technology, we have a technical hub where we are training the young mind, the graduate and postgraduate, who are attached to the technical hub of the University of Rwanda, and these are youth and girls. Another very quick area what Elizabeth is saying, in rural area, we have promoted youth and women group who are working as a distribution channel for the cook stove and the cooking fuel. So that's how we are integrating. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead, Dr. Peter.
Yeah, can I just 2 quick points. I think the first point, I think that often blocks youth from engaging in agroforestry is actually access to land. And we need to think about innovative models of rental, land rents, and tenure of trees that allows them to be able to get involved. That is imperative. Otherwise, they don't have access to land, and so they can't get involved. My second big point would be that we need to make agroforestry more profitable. At the moment, if you look across all of our agroforestry commodities, and we've spent a lot of time analyzing them, we capture less than 10% of the value of the biomass. So we need to deploy technologies that allow us to move beyond 10% of the value so that it becomes more profitable, and we will get youth involved in those instances. Thank you.
I just have 2 very quick data points or anecdotes for women and youth. For women, I think women actually resonate very much with the finance community. And the One Acre Fund would know this well. We have a biogas project in India where we have farmers purchase biodigester equipment, and they get paid a 50% share of the carbon revenue with per unit level digital MRV that's integrated with Gold Standard. And for every unit that is acquired, we actually require a woman to co-sign it. Because the partners that we worked with, they found on the ground that for any loan or financing of some form that was at least $400, if a woman co-signed it, the delinquency rates dropped off significantly. Just including that data point, like any financier of any project will want to have women more involved. So that's a quick one on women. And the quick anecdote on youth is our company is running the largest biochar plant currently in Southeast Asia, and we've started building first-in-market computer vision tracking systems at the plants. This is to track things that cannot be tracked currently with IoT sensors. The idea for this and the idea for using generative AI for local language voice chatbots in our interactions with farmers. These ideas came from our high school interns who are curious, they're on the cutting edge, they're playing around with their friends with like new technologies. So I think we don't have to assume that youth are going to participate in the same way that current generations are participating. But just from that anecdote, I mean, they've made our project much cooler and much more interesting and much more traceable than it otherwise would have been. So those are my 2 jump-ins.
All right, thank you, Joanna. So I'd like to ask each one of you to maybe give a commitment, a message for the future as we wrap it up. Please keep it short and concise, a quick 1 line before we close. I'll start with you, Elizabeth.
Maybe I'll just repeat my message about collaboration and coming together. I think this has been a great space this last week to connect, to meet each other, to get inspired by each other's work, and I just want to encourage everybody to take that forward. Don't forget about those new connections you have created, those new ideas you've had, and let's remember that we have a beautiful big community of agroforesters and that we're doing this together.
Okay. No, thanks. I think we have sufficient scientific evidence that agroforestry can drive a new circular bioeconomy for Africa and change a lot of our economies. I think we need to dialogue with ministries of finance and prime ministers and convince them to invest in this, and that will transform the way we look at agroforestry and what we do in terms of linking it to industry and development. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Going forward, we need to continue thinking about agroforestry that is community-driven, that has got a market value, supported by evidence, and also by policy and strategy.
I would like to encourage anyone in the audience who is drawn to intersections to think about specializing actually in being a translator. And the quick reference is I used to be in fintech, and when we're building a fintech, you need someone in the middle who can talk to both the deep subject matter experts in the finance product and the legal aspects of it, and someone who can also talk to the engineers. I think there's a very similar analogy here, and I think there are enough of us in the room who might be intrigued at the intersection of areas that the experts in this room are in, and that role, I feel, will be the big shift. It'll be a fulcrum in drawing more of the ecosystem together.
Murakaza Neza Mu Rwanda. Welcome to Rwanda, a country of innovation where past is working with the present to create beautiful future, and where the future is working on sustainable solution by connecting people, creating livelihoods, and conserving nature. Morakoshe.
All right, thank you. Thank you to each one of you for these thoughtful reflections. I think today's discussions made it very clear. If we align our science, our policy, investment, and partnerships, that's how we turn this vision into real action. So on behalf of everyone, the organizing committee, thank you to each one of you and to everyone at this Congress. Let's carry this momentum beyond these walls and into real action that will deepen impact. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we can do a little better than that for our intentional and efficient moderator. Thank you so much also to our panelists who were gracious enough to allow us to draw from their well of wisdom, knowledge, and experience. Thank you. They'll have a moment. If a picture is not framed in this day and age, it did not happen, so. Thank you once again. Thank you so much. It is now my great honor to invite our first speaker of the day, who will be sharing their insights and helping us frame our reflections as well as the path ahead for agroforestry in a changing world. Ladies and gentlemen, and I've been working on this pronunciation for some time, so I hope I can do the name justice. Please join me in warmly welcoming the Director General of Rwanda Forestry Authority, Mr. Concord Nsengumuremyi, to deliver his welcome remarks. It is our last day. I think this is our last chance to show some love to our speakers. Once again, a warm welcome to the DG.
Honorable Minister of Environment, His Excellency Dr. Haile Mariam Desalegn, Chief Executive Officer, C4 ICRAF, Chief Executive Officer of Wanika Fund, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Could I request all the organizers, committees of the Congress to come forward here? Steering committee members, come forward, please. Scientific committee members, including reviewers of the abstract, come forward, please. Partnership committee members, communication committee members, secretariat committee members, and the Rwanda event team. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Minister of Environment, and in my personal capacity as co-chair of Steering Committee for the World Congress on Agroforestry 2025, I wish to extend my deepest appreciation to each and every one of you for your exceptional dedication in organizing the 6th World Congress on Agroforestry. Your hard work, collaboration, and commitment have been the cornerstone of this event's success, bringing together 876 participants from 65 countries, experts and partners from around the world to engage in meaningful dialogue, share knowledge, and shape the future of agroforestry. The seamless coordination, the engaging program, and the warm hospitality demonstrated throughout this Congress are a reflection of your professionalism and your shared vision for a more sustainable future. I also want to thank the partners and vendors like Rwanda Events, caterers, security, nurses, media, and the venue staff for their incredible support and contribution to this success. Please accept my heartfelt gratitude for your tireless efforts, from strategic planning and logistics to communication, program design, participant support, and on-site coordination. Your teamwork has not only made this Congress a resounding success, but has also set a new benchmark for the future international gatherings. As we celebrate these achievements, let us also recognize that the spirit of cooperation and excellence displayed here will continue to inspire many more such milestones. Once again, I thank you most sincerely for your invaluable contribution to the success of the Congress.
Indeed, special thanks to all the organizers and the partners that have made this a truly memorable experience. Ladies and gentlemen, we now come to a very special moment. It is now my profound honor to invite our guest of honor, who will be delivering the official closing remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, with a really generous, warm round of applause, help me welcome the Honorable Dr. Bernadette Arakwiye, the Minister of Environment of the Republic of Rwanda.
Thank you so much. Your Excellency, Dr. Haile Mariam Desalegn, the CEO of C4 Aircraft, Dr. Eliane Obarijoro, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished delegates, esteemed researchers and practitioners, representatives of governments and international organizations, members of the private sector, farmers, youth, and civil society, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I believe it's afternoon already. Today, we mark the conclusion of the 6th World Congress on Agroforestry. And over the past 5 days, we have shared not only scientific knowledge, but also hope, commitment, and a collective vision for a world where trees, food, and people thrive together. When we convened at the start of this week, we set out to explore the full potential of agroforestry, to understand its science, to strengthen its practice, and to accelerate its integration into national and global agendas. What we have achieved together goes far beyond expectations. Across plenary sessions, technical panels, field visits, and informal exchanges, we have covered an extraordinary range of topics, from tree, soil, crop interactions, and biodiversity linkages, to policy frameworks, value chains, and financing innovations. We have heard how agroforestry can simultaneously restore degraded land, enhance food security, create jobs, and contribute to climate resilience. We have listened to the stories of farmers transforming their livelihoods by integrating trees into their field, and to researchers and policymakers shaping enabling environment for large-scale action. The breadth of this Congress has been exceptional, but beyond the breadth, there has been great depth. We did not shy away from the difficult questions. How do we ensure tenure security? How do we mobilize finance at scale? How do we measure impact and avoid one-size-fits-all approach? How do we translate research into practice, like we just heard from the previous panel? These discussions reminded us that agroforestry is not just a technical solution, it is a societal transformation. And allow me to express, on behalf of the government of Rwanda and all host partners, our deepest appreciations to everyone who made this Congress a success. Another warm of applause, actually, to the group that was just here. To the organizers and scientific committees for curating an excellent program, to the speakers and panelists for your insightful contribution, and to our international and regional partners for your collaboration. And to all participants, more than 1,000 voices from across continents and sectors, for your active engagement, and exchange of experiences. You have brought life and meaning to this Congress. As we close this event, I invite all of us to look forward with determination and purpose. The knowledge shared here must not remain within these walls. It must inform our policies, guide our investments, and inspire our communities. And allow me to offer 3 reflections as we move forward. We need to translate knowledge into concrete action. The science is clear. This has been mentioned multiple times throughout this week, and the evidence is strong. What we need now is implementation. Policies that reward tree-based systems, investments that support farmers, and programs that demonstrate measurable impact. Secondly, we need to strengthen collaboration and partnerships. This Congress has connected people and ideas from every region. Let us maintain this network, exchange data and lessons, and coordinate our efforts. When we work together, we amplify our impact. And third, let's ensure inclusion and equity. Agroforestry must serve everyone, especially the rural women and young people whose future depend on sustainable landscapes. Their knowledge, energy, and leadership are vital to the transformation we seek. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all return to our respective countries and workstations, let us carry with us the spirit of Rwanda, the spirit of action, resilience, and collaboration. Let us envision a future where every landscape combines productivity and biodiversity, where every farmer benefits from trees on their land, and where every nation recognizes agroforestry as a pillar of its development strategy. And that future is within our reach if we keep the momentum, stay connected, and act with urgency. Therefore, on behalf of the government of Rwanda, I thank you all once again for your presence, your passion, and your partnership, and the support of our partners that made this Congress successful. Let us leave this Congress not only inspired, but committed to scaling up agroforestry for people, for nature, and for our planet, and for our shared prosperity. I wish you safe travels, those of you traveling, and we look forward to seeing the outcomes of this week reflected in action across our landscapes and our communities. Together, let us make the next decade the decade of agroforestry. Murakoze cyane. Thank you very much.
And like the true style of this morning, we will continue, yes, with another round of applause for the Honorable Minister for those inspiring words for your leadership and that firm call to action. Ladies and gentlemen, our guests of honor will be leaving shortly, so we'll be pivoting with our agenda today. Bear with us, because we do need her help to award one of our winners today. In our next session, we are going to be awarding people who have excelled, who exemplify excellence and innovation in agroforestry. We have 3 that have emerged on the top, whose notable contribution we cannot ignore. And I would like to invite to the stage the first person to help us award. And the person they're going to be awarding will be coming in as the 3rd winner. And that is Ms. Eliane Obalijoro, who is the CEO, International Union of Agroforestry, whose beautiful voice filled this place during the opening ceremony. I know this is a face you all remember. Welcome, welcome. and she will be announcing who the winner is.
Okay. Just want to say how happy I am at this moment. You have no idea what this means for me, for Rwanda and the continent, for all of you, everything. Agroforestry can be a key to prosperity and eliminate poverty around the world. Let's keep this up. So, this award certificate is proudly presented to Lisa Best for being the overall best poster presenter during the 6th World Congress on Agroforestry held here in Kigali. Lisa.
And we want to have you where we can take a picture. Congratulations to our third runner-up. A great job. They'll now take a moment to have the photo, as we said, framed. To present our second winner, as our D and our presenter make their way back to their seats, I'd like to call to the stage Mr. Patrick Worms, who is the president of the International Union of Agroforestry, who has the distinct pleasure of awarding our second winner.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this is always an emotional moment. It's the moment when we close, and it's the moment we recognize the best amongst us. And that's why I'm so pleased today to present an award for being the overall best poster presenter to Rusgu JR. And Rusgu JR, I look forward to find out what the JR stands for. Please come up to the stage. Please come up to the stage.
JR, congratulations. I'd like to request all our winners to please get your award out of this envelope and make sure you're nearby. Would like to take a picture of all three of you at the end. Yes, so please make sure you're nearby in the interest of time. Thank you so much. Our third winner, you're forgetting this gorgeous award. I know it will look good in my living room, but it rightly belongs to you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I again have the honor of welcoming back our guest of honor, who will be awarding the winner, the first runner-up of the day. Honorable, the floor is yours. If we could have the award.
And the first award winner is Caitlin Shaw. Caitlin Shaw.
Honorable Minister, if you could stay behind after this. All our winners and the presenters, please, if you could make your way back, would like to have this moment. And Caitlin's award is being received on her behalf. She's in the field today, but yes, we do recognize her contribution, the excellence she represents today, even in her absence. We will have a photo moment. Our winners, if you could take your awards out, please. The team took a lot of time to make sure they look great and would like to capture this moment. Thank you. I have a trick that usually gets people to smile wide. Can we say gorillas? Thank you so much. Thank you, Honorable Minister, and our presenters, and congratulations to our winners. Your achievements indeed do inspire us and remind us that seeds of transformation often do begin with just one dedicated hand and a bold idea. Now, you might be wondering, how did we come to this point? How did we decide who wins these loads of great ideas? There's a person that is more capable that will be coming up to explain to us the criteria that led us here. I'd like to call to the stage Professor Charles, who is from the University of Rwanda. That is Professor Dr. Charles Buchagu, who is going to be taking us through how we managed to zero down to only 3 winners.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm standing here on behalf of a team that was assigned to select among 73 posters that we received during this Congress. So as I said, we got a total of 73, and then we set a number of criteria, basically looking at the originality or innovative topics, looking at the clarity in the way these posters were written. So after following a rigorous assessment, we came up with the top 3 that were just being awarded. And we thank the team members that worked with me, but also thank the facilitation I got from my colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor, for helping us unpack the road to getting here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we do have exciting news today. It is always a great note to end on when we have some announcements that can tell us where we're moving forward to. I do have the honor of inviting again to the stage Mr. Patrick Worms, who is the president of the International Union of Agroforestry, to announce, and there'll be no spoilers from me. Let's give him a warm round of applause.
Thank you so very much, but I'm not the president of the International Union of Agroforestry anymore as of this morning. We have a new president, I'll mention that in a few minutes, but I will take the privileges of having worked with all of you over the last 3 years to make this happen, to deliver my own emotional closing words before announcing the country that will host the 7th World Congress on Agroforestry. Working with the government of Rwanda to deliver this was new. It was a country for the first time that was devoting a ministry to organize this. Usually we work with scientific institutions. It was a country that promised us extraordinary things, and back in Quebec, the most important was visa-free travel for any passport on the planet to Kigali. And it was a government. You're right to applaud. I wish the 200-odd planets out there, countries out there would learn from this lesson. Has Rwanda become overrun by criminals, brigands, miscreants, thugs, and illegal migrants as a result of this policy? No, it works. But back to agroforestry. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the extraordinary pleasure of announcing that the winning bid to host the World Congress on Agroforestry in 2028 is the country of Drum roll, please. Costa Rica. Luis and Arlene, could you step up so people can recognize you?
Thank you so much all, and it's a pleasure, of course, and an honor to be hosting the next World Agroforestry Congress, and we hope that we'll do a good job like Rwanda. Thank you, Rwanda, for being such a huge host, and even for us from Nicaragua, it was so easy to get a visa, so thank you so much. A country that is really, really far away from here, and it was so easy just from a click from our computer. It was so easy to get our visa. So thank you so much to the government of Rwanda for welcoming us. And I think it's just a great pleasure and honor again to be hosting the new Congress in 2028. And we hope that we will deliver just as good as Rwanda did. And we hope that we can collaborate and build again a new community that will be strengthened for any of us in our experience that we can share in those days. So welcome to Costa Rica, bienvenidos a Costa Rica, and they have I'm not a Costa Rican, but they have a huge famous saying that it says pura vida, so welcome to Costa Rica, bienvenidos a Costa Rica.
So let's take a moment to practice. You have to say since now, pura vida almost for everything. Can you repeat that? Pura vida. That's okay. So I want to show you a short video about the attraction and why Costa Rica will welcome you in 3 years' time. And I am part of the CATI staff, a research institution based in Costa Rica. We're probably leading the way to organize and host the Congress. And be ready because you will enjoy Latin American food, volcanoes, beaches. You will also enjoy dancing, and we will do our best to receive as Rwandans receive us in this Congress. Thanks for choosing Costa Rica. Can you play the video, please? Okay. We hope to see you again in 3 years' time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you didn't mention the two most important things about Costa Rica. It is a pioneer in the Americas on nature conservation and has some of the most gorgeous montane landscapes in the world. And it is the only country in the Americas without an army. Yet another country for which we can learn something. You know, for the last 3 years, I have chaired the IUAF board. And chairing a board, building an organization, is a little bit like helping a child grow. And when it grows up, when it is ready to step into another relationship, into its first relationship, you feel a little bit worried. And it is thus with extraordinary pleasure that I can announce that the next chairman of the board of the IUAF is my good friend, Dr. Javed Rizvi. Javed, please come up.
Good afternoon. Thanks, Patrick. I don't think I can match the energy that you have, but I will try my level best. First of all, I would like to thank all of you who are present here and who participated online in nominating and finally electing the board, the new board. And I'm very happy to share that in the first round you voted for 17 people, and then out of 17, 9 were finally elected. Out of 9, only 3 are men and 6 are women. So congratulations to all of you for being sensitive to a very relevant issue. Then I want to thank those remaining colleagues who could not make in the list of 9, but they invested time and accepted our request to be nominated. If you are here or if you are online, thank you for supporting this democratic process. Thanks a lot. As an incoming president of IUF, I sincerely and immensely thank the outgoing board of IUF, that all of us have seen how tremendous job they have been doing, and a real appreciation because I was supporting IUF as an advisor, and I know how in very limited resources and with no permanent staff, the board has done a wonderful job. Can we give a lot of applause for them? A round of applause, please. And of course, the Thanksgiving cannot be complete if I don't thank our host, the government of Rwanda, and all our colleagues from Rwanda who made this wonderful thing happening. Thank you so much. It's an overwhelming responsibility when I saw the nominations, the number of votes that we got, and it's putting us with a tremendous responsibility, which is really overwhelming. But we met this morning, the new team, and we all agreed that we have to struggle to build upon what the previous board has already done, and then we will thrive to increase the activities, the impact of IUF. Two things which personally and I'm sure the whole team agrees, that we have to find ways and means to make IUF more strengthened and more strong financially and in activity-wise also. The second priority that I think we should be taking on is people who join IUF and pay a membership, what IUF can give back in return to them, except the WCA. So I think that would be very fair if we can do something on that ground. And of course, my favorite aspect, how IUF can support our younger colleagues. So these are few things that we will be building, and definitely we will come back to all of you for more suggestions and more inputs. The current board, the newly elected board, it's a wonderful group of people. I'm really feeling proud that we have such a strong team. Everyone is acclaimed, everyone has achieved a lot. And again, when we were selecting 6 office bearers out of 9, so 4 office bearers are again our women colleagues. Only 2 male members are holding a position in the board. So I really thank the 9 board members who were very mindful when we were making the choice who will be the office bearers. I will call my colleagues here on the stage in a while. But it was a big choice and very wonderful choice that we were we were trying to keep a balance between gender, between geography, age groups. So I hope when you meet them, you will realize that we all have tried our best to do a good job. Talking about supporting younger generation, I think I should mention that our new vice president is a unique representative and a very deserving representative of the younger generation. She will be here in a while. So I don't want to take too much time. Can I invite my board colleagues to join me here on the dais, please? All the board members. Out of 9, 8 board members are present here. One of our colleagues, Emmeline, she is not here. I tried a lot to bring her online, but because of the time change, it is not possible. So one of us will introduce her. May I request to our colleagues we don't have microphone, so please come here and introduce yourself. I know it's a tight program, we are already late, so we have to take less time. So please, your name, your affiliation, and what position you are holding in the IUF board. Please, can you start?
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Moore, currently a free agent based in Madagascar and filling the post of treasurer.
Hello, I'm Marie-Louise Havana Tienche from Cameroon. Working as Deputy Country Coordinator for C4 ICRAF office in Cameroon, and I will be the Secretary of the board. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Lagneau. I'm a postdoctoral researcher at Wageningen University. I also work with the Wyss Academy for Nature, and I'm affiliated with the International Potato Center. I work in the Peruvian Amazon, and I am very honored to be your next vice president. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Bonjour. Ngiweneza. I'm Sam Kanyamibwa. I come from Rwanda. And I'm the founder and the CEO of a regional organization called ARCOS. We have a booth in the back. Have a look. And I'm very happy to join the board as vice treasurer.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elaine Springay. I am a forestry officer for Agroforestry at the FAO based in headquarters, so I manage our global agroforestry program, and I have the honor of serving as a general member on the board. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Philippe Vass. I'm a researcher from CIRAD and coffee and cocoa agroforester over the last 30 years, and very proud to be part of that board. Thank you.
I'm Rosa Mosquera. I am full professor at the University of Santiago de Compostela. I'm currently leading 3 European Union projects with more than 3,000 stakeholders involved in different continents. So I hope to give my expertise and to help the new board as a board member. Thank you.
Thank you so much, colleagues. Can one of you introduce Emmeline? Please. Anyone? Yeah, please. Because she's not here, so just tell her something.
Okay, yes, Emeline Asede is an associate professor at the University of Parakou in Benin, and she will be the deputy secretary of the board.
Thank you. Colleagues, please stay with us for a couple of more minutes, and then we will go together. It's a wonderful news that today morning we formally agreed to work as a board members, and then we have a very good news to share with you. Maybe some of you already know. During this conference, a new organization is born, which is African Agroforestry Association, and I hope and I would request colleagues who will be managing this new association to join the IUAF. We have the newly elected president of AAF here among us, who is a wonderful friend and colleague from ICRAF. Can I request Esther to join us here?
Wow, I'm ambushed, but
Sorry
yeah,
for
thank
putting you on the spot.
yeah. So, good afternoon, everyone, Excellencies, and ladies and gentlemen. I'm really excited to be here. Like Elian said, what a wonderful week we had. Here in Rwanda, you made us proud. I'm really proud. A great host. And even a greater joy to found the African Agroforestry Union here in African soil in Rwanda. Please allow me to thank our wonderful CEO, Eliane, for your vision and leadership. I have had a privilege of founding EAF as a vice president for 6 years. To see here is really wonderful. And to found, even it's a big honor to be the founding president of the African Agroforestry Union. So it's a deep honor and privilege to serve. We elected 9 fellow founding members, and we have 4 women out of 9. But it's not only about the founding members. We need all of you, be it in Africa and the international community, to make it a success. And we look forward to host you somewhere in Africa as African Agroforestry Union in the future. Thank you so much for the honor and opportunity.
Thank you, Esther. I would conclude now. We are elected by you, and we are a very small team. So we will be coming back to you for support, for help. All these positions are voluntary positions without any support. So every board member is a one-man army to do the job that we are supposed to do. So please, we all have responsibility for IUAF. We are just the faces, but we depend on all of you. Thank you so much. We will be we will be connecting with you very often. Thanks a lot.
That is indeed exciting news. Ladies and gentlemen, as a Rwandan, a proud Rwandan at that, it gives me immense joy to introduce the next item on our agenda. But even as we transition to our entertainment segment, I'd like to remind us that we do have the declaration that will be announced immediately after. So do not go away. do not leave the room after the entertainment. We still have so much on our agenda and even more exciting things ahead. This I call a slice of heaven. We get to share our culture, and please help me with a warm round of applause. Invite our traditional dance troupe.
Thank you. Mama ndare we, Amandare we wanyoye inka mu batesi.
Amandare we
wanyoye inka ntayorana.
Amandare we
kubwirwa n'imbavu ndende we.
Amandare we
akarangwa n'umuri wawe.
Amandare we
Amandare we urwabato ntirushira.
Amandare we
wariye mukagasana.
Amandare we
umukobwa mukagasana.
Amandare we
kuyagiye kuri komine.
Amandare we
niko yagiye kuri komine.
Amandare we
kwishakira urwandiko.
Amandare we
kwishakira urwandiko we.
Amandare we
rwo kumujyana i Kigali.
Amandare we
rwo kumujyana i Kigali we.
Amandare we
kwishakira amafaranga.
Amandare we
Amandare we oya mama ndekuragenda.
Amandare we
nzakubahereke.
Amandare we
yewe nzakubahereke.
Amandare we
akebuka isozo.
Amandare we
akebuka isozo. gatoza amabara yose.
Amandare we
wanyoye inka mu batesi.
Amandare we
wanyoye inka ntayorana.
Amandare we
ubwirwa n'imbavu ndende we.
Amandare we
akarangwa n'umuri wawe.
Amandare we
ubwirwa n'imbavu ndende we.
Amandare we
akarangwa n'umuri wawe. Amandare we zuguruye amarembo shengera uhuragendwa. u Rwanda rw'abanyarwanda
nukore kwemana we ruragendwa
ruragendwa abahungu ruragendwa abakobwa.
mu Rwanda
rw'abanyarwanda
nukore kwemana we ruragendwa
nimubyine ntimutinye ntacyo babatwara.
mu Rwanda rw'abanyarwanda nukore kwemana we ruragendwa
burya umwana ujya iwabo ntabahari iminsi.
mu Rwanda rw'abanyarwanda nukore kwemana we ruragendwa
kuko iyo abazi iminsi n'abagitashe.
mu Rwanda rw'abanyarwanda nukore kwemana we ruragendwa
iyo mwambaye shenge musamaza abandi we.
mu Rwanda rw'abanyarwanda nukore kwemana we ruragendwa
nimubyine ntimutinye ntacyo babatwara.
mu Rwanda rw'abanyarwanda nukore kwemana we ruragendwa
kuri kwa Mungu we.
ruragendwa
kuri kw'Imana we.
ruragendwa
ruragendwa shenge.
ruragendwa
Rwanda ruraryoshye.
ruragendwa
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 kuri kwa Mungu we.
ruragendwa
kuri kw'Imana we.
ruragendwa
kuri kwa Mungu we.
ruragendwa
That never gets old. Beautiful. Thank you so much to our artists for that beautiful display of our culture, of grace, of resilience. And we hope you don't only take that from here. We hope you stay a little longer. Now, I know we're going to Costa Rica, but I tell you, Rwanda has a lot for you to explore before we move forward. So we hope that you can stay behind or perhaps visit again. Enjoy our majestic gorillas, our rainforests. There's so much that Rwanda has to offer. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we come to a very pivotal moment of the Congress. We will be hearing the Kigali Declaration, a historic document capturing commitments, ideas, and aspirations born from this gathering. This declaration is rooted in Rwanda's soil, carries our shared promise of scale of agroforestry solutions for people, for planets, and for profits. To do the honors, let's please bring back, with a warm round of applause, the Director General of Rwanda Forestry Authority.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon once again. I'm very happy to take you through Kigali Declaration on Agroforestry System Transformation Call for Action. We, participants of the 6th World Congress on Agroforestry, gathered in Kigali, Rwanda, the land of thousand hills, united by shared vision of people, planet, and profit. Across 63 countries, over 800 delegates came together as scientists, policymakers, farmers, and innovators to show that agroforestry can meet the urgent challenges of our time, restoring climate stability, regenerating land, protecting biodiversity, and securing food and livelihoods for all. The Congress featured 5 plenaries, 12 thematic sessions, more than 150 presentations, and poster sessions of over 260 abstracts, exhibitions, 17 side events, field visits, and an award ceremony with a strong participation from women, 31%, 60% male, and 27% youth, reaffirming the collective commitment to scale agroforestry as a core milestone of global sustainability and resilience. Rooted in traditional knowledge, yet powered by modern science, agroforestry is both ancient and urgent, the bridge between people and planet. It transforms bare hills into living landscapes, polluted air into breathable cities, and fragile farms into resilient, productive systems. When trees return, we harvest modern crops, we harvest clean water, nutritious food, and stability. It is also one of the world's most untapped economic opportunities. Restoring soil health and resilience increases productivity and profitability, growing more food on the same lands while reducing risk. Trees themselves anchor new green industries, from timber and resins to fruits and natural fibers, powering an inclusive bioeconomy that raises income, creates millions of jobs, and regenerates the natural capital on which economies depend. Agroforestry is not a trade-off between economy and ecology. It is the blueprint for their alignment. Aligning with the Rio Conventions, the UN Food System Transformation Agenda and the regional commitments such as Africans, CADIP, and the Latin Americans Initiative 20x20, this Congress calls for a decisive global shift from pilots to the whole landscapes, from scattered interventions to the systematic and pragmatic shifts. Therefore, we issue these Kigali declarations calling for actions in 6 pathways for scaling agroforestry. A collective call to the action for government, scientists, financiers, civil society, and communities elsewhere. Number 1, explore innovative research and solutions. Make science work for people and planet. We call for a science that serves the society, research that cracks the code of adoption, measures profitability and equity, and delivers solutions ready for use. We celebrate living labs, long-term trials, and digital tools that make land use choices visible before they are made. We urge open data, co-creation with farmers, and sustained investments in transdisciplinary research that integrates ecology, economics, and social sciences, answering the questions farmers are truly asking. Number 2, adoption and robust extension. Empower farmers as co-designers and innovators. Adoption grows from ownership. Agroforestry thrives when farmers are co-designers and decision makers. We celebrate farmers' managed regeneration and forest garden systems, improving yield, biodiversity, and nutrition for millions. We call for extension services, peer networks, and risk-sharing finance that reward adopters. Recognizing indigenous and the local knowledge must be central to the innovation. Empowering is not participation, it is a power. Investments, opportunities, and financial mechanisms as pathway number 3. Mobilize the finance for a green and inclusive bioeconomy. Agroforestry is profitable, from Brazil's Cerrado to India's enterprises incubators. Payment for ecosystem services, carbon and biodiversity credits, and the climate insurance show that restoration can be a business. We call on banks, investors to scale blended finance instruments that de-risk adoption, on governments to redirect harmful subsidies toward regenerative incentives, and on financial institutions to expand credit for women, youth-led agroforestry enterprises. Finance must turn restoration into a viable business, not a gamble. Number 4, enabling policy frameworks for practitioners. Build policy frameworks for enable and align. Sound policy is the backbone of scaling. We celebrate countries like Rwanda and India that have embedded agroforestry across ministries and budgets. We urge governments to harmonize agricultural, environmental, and trade policies, secure land and tree tenure, simplify regulations, and integrate agroforestry into NDCs, biodiversity, and food security plans. We call on global frameworks, including EU deforestation regulation, to move beyond avoiding harm toward rewarding good, recognizing biodiverse, water-friendly, smallholder inclusive systems. Number 5, dismantle barriers to inclusion. True inclusion begins with access to land, finance, and opportunities. We call for secure land and tree tenure for women, youth, and indigenous peoples, recognizing that the rights are the foundation of stewardship. We call for cooperative ownership and benefit sharing models that turn inclusion into economic power. We urge the impact investors, microfinance institutions, and the commercial banks to establish a dedicated credit lines, guarantee schemes, and digital finance products for small and medium agroforestry enterprises with a priority for women and youth-led ventures. Inclusion cannot remain symbolic. It must redistribute power, capital, and knowledge. Number 6, the last but not the least, agriculture is the most significant driver of biodiversity loss. Yet, agroforestry offers a proven solution. Evidence from Rwanda to India shows native trees double on farm biodiversity, increase soil nutrients, and sustain yields in drought. We protect, restore biodiversity health and resilience. We call on government and communities to expand tree-based system that strengthen ecological and human resilience. Health ministries, city planners must recognize that healthy ecosystems mean healthy people. As one scientist reminded us, when only 2 in 10 can reach a pharmacy, the forest becomes the first hospital. We urge all partners to expand green spaces and agroforestry models proven to improve health, food security, and climate resilience. With this Congress, we declare the establishment of the African Union for Agroforestry. Join us in this call for action. Urdu leaders, communities, individuals toward a greener planet. Thank you very much once again.
Can we appreciate him once more? Thank you for that powerful reading. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the climax of our time together. We have a little highlight, but before we get to it, I have a couple of announcements to make. We do have a QR code for the book of abstracts that you can scan. I request the media team to please display that. And as they get to that, we also would like to let you know that Visit Rwanda is open, so check into your email for the correct contact person, and you will get all the help that you need. Also, our lunch is ready. We would like for you to join us for a final moment of celebration of new friendships, partnerships, shared learning, and the powerful idea that brought all of us here together. And with that, as we say in Rwanda, where a tree is planted, the heart finds a home. And we hope that you can call Rwanda your second home and that you enjoyed your stay with us. Do come back again and again. Now, the last item on our agenda is a special performance. It's actually an original song, and that is written and will be performed by Phil Green, all the way from Cameroon. He decided to honor this Congress with his talent. He's an artist, an environmental activist, and the founder Green Beam for Hope Foundation. I hope he is ready to grace us with his talent. Thank you so much for your time with us. We do wish you safe travels. And for those of you that would love to see a little bit of Rwanda, as I mentioned earlier, all the information you need is on the website. Don't run away. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Hello? Hello? Please, let's just all stand up, stretch, 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 stretch. Me the way, Rwanda. Good afternoon, everyone. Bonsoir à tous. Please, we have to do our own now. Let's just stand up, everybody. Stand stretch, and we are doing this together. I'm not doing it alone. You feel free to come in front so we can do together. DJ, take it all over again. Let's go. And I love volume a lot. Let's go, let's go, let's go. We are exercising. All right, hands up in the air, everybody. Let's go, like this, like this. To know that we have to let the world to know that climate change, no. Climate change is a call for all. The climate change, no. Climate change is a call for all. Let's go.
In May 2023 floods in Boya, Cameroon. November 2024 landslide in Chad. Severe floods in the far north region of the country, affecting more than 400,000 people.
I want to tell the world to know that we have to let the world to know that the climate change, no. Climate change is a call for all. The climate change, no. Climate change is a call for. Let's go. I want to tell the world to know that we have to let the world to know that the climate change, no. Climate change is a call for all. The climate change, no. Climate change is a call for all.
From the burning of fossil fuels to generate electricity, to industrial works, moving cars and vehicles with the use of gas, deforestation, burning of bushes and littering our environment with waste like plastics are all human activities which emit billions of tons of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, water vapor and methane into the atmosphere every year. These greenhouse gases are the cause of global warming. Temperatures have been increasing in a very fast rate in the last 50 years, causing changes in rainfall. Water is becoming scarce in many regions as deserts are expanding. Ill health is the order of the day. Rampant floods and storms, especially in seashore cities, destroying homes and causing millions to fly for their lives.
Let's go. I want to tell the world to know that we have to let the world to know that the climate change, no. Climate change is a call for all. The climate change, no. Climate change is a call for all. Sing. I want to tell the world to know that we have to let the world to know that the climate change, no. Climate change is a call for all. The climate change, no. Climate change is a call for all. The bad news is that we are the cause of this problem, but the good news is that we can fix this problem. We all need to tell a friend to tell a friend, tell a brother to tell a brother, and tell a sister to tell a sister, that if you cut down a tree, it's sure to plant another. Rwanda, 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 yeah!
Join my voice. Let's split on our government to encourage the use of clean renewable energy, multi-solar energy, bus and electric cars. Please, let's try to put our plastic waste together and hand them over to those who can recycle them. With this, we are saving our environment, ourselves, and our next generation.
To know that, I want to tell the world to know. Your craziest dance, everybody, let's go. Jump on, your craziest dance, let's go, let's go, let's go. Jump on. Let the world to know
change. Climate change, no. Climate change is a call for all. The climate change. Climate change, no. Climate change is a call for all. I want to tell the world to know that we have to let the world to know that climate change, oh yeah, climate change, oh yeah, climate change is a call for all. The climate change, no, climate change is a call for all.
Thank you, DJ. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to enjoy our time together, that was such a beautiful, beautiful song. I remind us all to please use the QR code. There you will be able to get the book, the book of abstract, but you'll also be able to get your certificates of participation. Yes. So we'll have the QR code up again. Let's get your certificates of participation, and the book as well will be available. Please do enjoy your lunch.